other day, my nigga told me, yo, you gotta give me something I could bump to in the car, you know what I mean? Something I could rock to, you know what I mean? Something with that bounce, you know what I mean? Well, a leg up. Last year, niggas claimed that I fell off. I guess you would call this a comeback. On my solo dolo shit like Mike Rose, with 2 cities on both shoulders, still never walk with hunchback. After all these haters told me get my weight up, so I jacked up on steroids to make it from minors to majors. Used to be a broke lil nigga. Now all I do is count my paper, so why should I apologize for the life that I done earned? Got my finger up for critics like, fuck let the track burn. If the flow my style and I'm hot now, what the fuck would I wait my turn? I call me a problem child, always acting wild, of life with no concern. So for all those who take shots, I might be saying prayers for your earn. Rest in peace to your career. When the fuck y'all gon' learn? Cause I eat beef like shark, we gon' beef for the whole year. And I won't stop till I'm on top like a shit down like a sheriff. Excuse me. Can you hold my mic for a second? Cause I feel like I'm the shit, nigga. Cause I gotta do my dance. All I need is a new Bugatti and I'ma be legit, nigga. Excuse me. Can you hold my mic for a second? Cause I feel like I'm the shit, nigga. Cause I gotta do my dance. All I need is a new Bugatti and I'ma be legit, nigga. Working so damn hard, I need a whole month for vacay. Just me, Chance, and AK.
Yeah. You know, it's your boy Gerard, Mr. Daiquiri Man himself. We're doing a UFC review. My boys Corey and Malik backstage. They finna come up here and talk their UFC shit. But before we start, I gotta get the sponsorship off. Gotta tell y'all what's popping. You know, 901 Daiquiris is up and running right now. Get y'all orders in. It's gonna be a busy weekend, bro. It is Halloween weekend. We got Halloween parties tomorrow and Saturday. Get your orders in so I can get y'all drinks, man. And I'm gonna hand it over to my guys, Corey and Malik, the UFC aficionados of conversations at the shop. I'm gonna let them have it. And I'm gonna talk to y'all later, bro. Y'all be easy. I'm out, man.
Yo.
Well, now that we got that out the way, shout out to Draw Make Your Money. You know, now we can turn it over to people who know what they're talking about. You know,
Draw know a little bit.
A little bit.
I'm trying to teach him. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
Trying to teach him.
Work him in slowly. I ain't mad at it. How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? You already know who it is. You know, Mr. Zero Dark 30, Mr. Smile, Mr. Blackout Season coming soon. If y'all heard that joint, that's one of the tracks from Blackout Season. Gerard always dropping my shit early. But you know what I'm saying? Whatever, it's Malik the motherfucking guy, huh?
Yeah, keep it going. Talk your shit.
What's good?
I'm feeling great. Corey's everywhere. Stand up, you know. Corey's we got a good run going right now, you know. We got World Series and MVPs to our name right now. Corey's are doing wonderful things, you know. I'm outstanding right now. I feel good. I got in my bike ride earlier, so I got the energy going. Feeling refreshed. Whew. I'm ready to talk some stuff because your boy's killing me, and I'm trying to keep it. We'll get to that.
Marcus?
We will get to all of that, but you know, we got to start with the people who did things to deserve being talked about first and foremost, and of course that starts with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Another dominant performance. I mean, the man is. It's insane, and what's crazy is, I thought Gaethje fought a really good fight.
He tried.
He had a good game plan at first. You saw him trying to keep his distance. He caught Khabib with some mean shots, and none of it. And the leg kicks were serious, and none of it mattered. None of it mattered.
Khabib walked straight through all of that shit, though. Like, the whole fight, bro. That's what surprised me though about Khabib though, is that I was sitting here, I was talking to Parks, because me and Parks was watching it. And I was like, yo, I don't like Khabib, like, because Khabib didn't shoot for a long time.
He
And
said that.
Like,
he's in the package earlier, they were showing during the Conor fight and how he, like, his corner was, like he said, I wanted to stand up with Conor more. Like, I really wanted to show that I can trade and I can stand up with these dudes, but the corner was so adamant. The corner was just screaming at him to shoot and go for that takedown that eventually he had to go and go for that takedown.
Right.
So him doing that this fight, I'm sure that's something where he's like, this is about to be my last fight. I'm going out how I want to go out. And
right.
I mean, and he ate some punches that have put out a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive. There's no other way to describe it. I'm sitting here just watching these highlights again, and it's just he ran through punches that put out dudes. He gets to the ground, and then he just said, "Oh yeah, now I can tap you out when I want to," and almost got it in the first round.
Right. Saved by the bell.
If these were 6-minute rounds, that would have been done in the first.
And it was crazy because I thought Gaethje had the wrestling ability, from how everybody talked about it, to keep Khabib off of him, or if he gets down, to get right back up on his feet. But like Khabib says it all the time. He said Russian wrestling and American wrestling is not the same. It's totally different. And he showcased that. Like,
he shoots like it's not, like you said, it's because it's Sambo. It's the Sambo game.
Right.
That it's different. It's not just I'm going to get my hands around your waist and drag you down. It's this transition to this transition, single leg, lift up high. It's all of that. And once he gets a hold of you, he can transition through all of that so quickly. You have no clue what the hell to do. There's been plenty of other really good wrestlers. I mean, if I'm, what's kind of forgotten about is Conor actually was able to stop a couple of early takedowns because they were basic takedowns.
Right.
Until it got to that catch and those transitions. And I mean, that last takedown, it was off of Gaethje tripped him on a leg kick. And on his way to the ground, he just grabbed him and took his back in like 0.8 seconds. I've never seen something like that in my life.
Yeah.
It just absolutely unbelievable. Like, Gaethje did a good thing. He did great leg kick, gets him to the ground, and somehow he grabs him on his way to the ground, transition, takes his back, and is in full mount in a few seconds. And I'm just sitting there going, what the hell just happened? It's absolutely, his skill level and his dominance is absolutely unbelievable. I was legitimately in awe, and all shout outs to Gaethje, because and ref, the man tapped like 3 times.
I did. The ref should have saw that tap. Like, the ref, Gaethje didn't need to go out because he definitely tapped.
Come on, like multiple times though. Like, it's one thing if it's once and it's kind of on the side of the leg next to the cage or whatever, something like that. Okay, you could miss that. That man tapped the side of the leg. That man tapped his chest. He tapped the front. The man tapped everywhere on Khabib. And for the ref not to see that, that was disappointing. I get that, everyone's human. You're going to make mistakes. Like, that happens. But, holds like that, Khabib's foot was, and Khabib's foot was broke, which is ridiculous.
What makes that shit even more amazing, finding that out after the fight, that his foot was broken the whole time.
I'm always amazed by stuff like that, when these fighters that come out like that and they're like, actually, I was dealing with this too, and we just didn't want the fight to be messed up. And it's like, wait, what? Like, it's a different level of tough. It's a
Right.
different level of toughness to be a UFC fighter and the highest caliber of UFC fighter. And that's what Khabib, he didn't have the longest run, and we'll get into some GOAT talk later. He didn't have the longest run, and that's what hurts his case to me.
Right.
But I mean, he had in all of his UFC fights, what's he lost? 2 rounds, maybe.
And those are who Khabib
Maybe 2 rounds.
lost a round. I don't.
Maybe. If it is, that's like the max. There
Right.
was some early fights where he had a couple of troubles, but like it's dominance, absolute dominance at that level is you just got to tip your hat. That's all you can do.
Facts.
Which leads us to, after the fight, obviously, Khabib announced his retirement. Really emotional. Really, as someone who's lost both parents, someone who lost my dad last year, like that should hit me.
Yeah.
I'm like that was, you could see how serious and how close he was with his dad. And it's do you think this is a true retirement?
I want to say yes. Just because here's the reason why. Because I didn't like Khabib's language leading up to the fight. So I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I picked Gaethje just because this isn't the same Khabib leading up to the fight that I've seen before, because it kind of sounded like, I'm not saying he was making excuses early, but in his language, talking to Ariel and talking to Brett Okamoto and stuff like that, you could sense there was a piece of doubt in Khabib's mind about winning the fight, or even talking about everything after the fight. He said, I just want to focus on Justin. I don't want to focus on even 30-0 at this point. I just want to focus on Justin. And the thing that hit me was, it's a promise to his mom, bro. Like, if you making a promise to your mom after your dad died, bro, that's some shit that you kind of just gotta like stand on.
Right.
So I think this is it for Khabib. And then knowing how Khabib is set when it comes to money because of the Conor fight. He feels like he doesn't need anymore. He got people he wants to train. What's his name? Islam something.
He's got. I mean, there's a few people coming out through there. Zabid's coming out from over there. I don't know if they're all in the same camp, but guys like Zabid. There's Islam or something. I can't think of his name. Chimaev is another dude. That's they're all from out there. I'm not. Don't call me as them all being from the same camp and the same same area, but they're all from that region in general. And Khabib's a different dude. He's not like these, the Western fighters.
Right.
It's a different mindset. It's a different, his beliefs and what he stands for and all that stuff is a lot different than what a lot of people out here stand for. And that's just how he was brought up and the way he was raised. Right. So, I would think that he is actually done. I do believe he's done. I think the only fight that could possibly bring him out is a GSP fight.
I was about to ask you that. I was about to say, what if GSP actually goes ahead and calls him out? Because GSP did an interview too right after Khabib retired, and Ariel, I think it was it was Chael.
Yeah, I was going to say I think it was Ariel.
Chael asked him straight up. He was like, "Look, do you want to? What do you think he's going to do? He's going into retirement. Do you have any words for Khabib?" And what GSP says, he was like, "To be honest with you, to ask Khabib for a fight right now would be disrespectful." because because everything that's going on with his father, like he was like, if it was any other circumstance, yes, I would be like, hey, he's probably not running from me. He doesn't want to fight me. But with the circumstances and stuff like that, it's totally disrespectful for me to call him out at this point and ask him for that fight. Like, he should just go ahead and do what he needs to do for his family. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but if that changes,
I think that's the one. I think if there's one, that's the one, because he has nothing to prove. Like he has nothing to prove. It's not to say there aren't other fights out there for him if he wanted them, because there absolutely are. Not like, regardless of what we think of him, and we'll get to him a little later too. Ferguson is like, people would still pay to see that Ferguson fight. Like people would absolutely, like, that's still a fight because of the history of it and because of how many times that fight got canceled. I think that's still something that people would see.
And they have legit beef.
Oh yeah. I think that's something people will see. I think if he were to win another fight or two, I think people would love to see a Conor rematch. Regardless of, I don't think it'd be much different, but still be a massive fight. If Conor were to say beat Poirier and then beat Gaethje or something, like in theory, hypothetically, if he were to beat those two and then come calling for Khabib, that would be a massive, massive, massive fight. And then you talk about going to 170, and you got guys like Kobe or Usman, or
I'd love to see an Usman fight. Him versus Usman would be a perfect fight for me.
Or Masvidal, like all those guys like that. And once there's fights out there for Khabib if he wants them.
Right.
Right now, I don't think he wants them, and he don't need them. Like, it's he doesn't have to.
Right.
He does not have to want them, and that's fine. You know, like GSP said, which if that fight were to happen, that'd probably be the most boring build up to a major fight ever, because they're two of the most they're two of the most respectful people ever. Yeah. Like, it would have to be like someone from like the camps or something would have to say something out of line or something for that to get serious.
Yeah,
though those two are way too respectful, but yeah, I don't see him coming back unless it's for that fight, and I don't think that would be within a year.
Me neither.
I couldn't see it before 2022. Being honest, Khabib's built different. He is built different.
So in saying all of that, when Khabib also retired, he said, just make sure I'm going to retire, but just make sure you put me number one pound for pound. Greatest fighter in the world. After Khabib retired, there was a lot of people coming out and saying Khabib's the GOAT. Where do you have Khabib as far as your top five in this moment in time?
Okay. At this very moment, which is what I think Khabib was saying. And I'll start with that. Okay. I think Khabib was saying, let me see myself at number one in the UFC rankings right now. That's what I believe he was talking about.
Right.
And I absolutely believe he is the number one pound for pound fighter right now.
Facts.
Because and the only person you could argue is Nunes, as far as just dominance and, on a huge win streak, because Jones hasn't looked good in his, like, if I wanted to take a shot, ever since that second USADA violation, Jones hasn't looked the same. Jones hasn't looked as good since that second USADA violation.
Right.
The Gus fight, okay, that was fine. That was kind of whatever it was. The Santos fight, that was not a great fight. I think he won it. I don't think it was as close as people try to make it, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I think he won that fight clearly,
Yeah.
but he didn't look dominant. He didn't look outstanding. He didn't
Right.
look otherworldly. The same with the Anthony Smith fight. He was clearly better than Anthony Smith, but he didn't look otherworldly. And you know how I feel about the Dominic Reyes fight. I thought he lost that fight. I think it's a close fight. It's a very close fight, but I edged Reyes the first 3 rounds. But to me, at this moment in time, if you're doing a pound for pound rankings, right now at this moment, Khabib's number 1, and I have a hard time arguing for anyone else. And like I said, the only person I think that could argue that is Nunes, because that woman has ran through everybody.
Right.
That's
You have him in your top 5 as far as
all time
being a GOAT?
Yes. Took some time to really think this through. I have him at 4.
Yeah,
I have him at 4.
So,
I have him at 4.
So what's your top 5? Let's just
okay. Number 1 top 5? For me, number 1 is Anderson Silva. I think Silva at his peak is better than anyone I've ever seen at their peak. Like, peak Silva had everyone going, wait, what? You can do how? How can you throw a front kick that fast to someone's face? Can you like it was peak Silva was better, and his resume is outstanding as well. Not as good as some, but it's still a very good resume. I have Jones number 2. I have Jones number 2 because his resume is absolutely fucking untouchable. Simple as that. It's to go through the streak of fighters that's just basically nothing but Hall of Famers and all-time greats. Like
Jones is 26-1, right? And then that loss was because of
the one loss is the unofficial
no contest.
Yeah, it's a no contest. No, it's a disqualification for 12-6 elbows.
Right.
Disqualification. So it is an official loss. Yeah, it's 26-1. With the one no contest is the Cormier.
Yeah.
Cormier is the no contest because that was the steroid pop. 3, I have Mouse. And to me, Mouse's argument is number 1, the longest consecutive title reign. Most consecutive title defenses, I should say. And unlike GSP, what put him over GSP was he got finishes. Like I think it was. I was looking some stuff up yesterday. I think of his 11 title defenses, 7 were finishes.
Right.
Like it's there is nothing that he can't do. If you have the video game Octagon, and at each point there's something, a different skill, Mouse's entire thing is filled up. Striking, kickboxing, clinch game, takedowns, transitions, top control, jiu-jitsu, back, guard, everything, Muay Thai, everything, he's shown it all. And I don't think there's anybody who has the all. Mouse's weak point is that he was born small.
Right.
Like that is his weak point, is that he is born small. And then I have Khabib at 4. Still a little questioning it. I have Nunes at 5.
Still have Nunes on that.
I have Nunes on it because there's nobody else that can like every other person in the female GOAT conversation. Nunes beat him handily, except Shevchenko. Shevchenko was I thought she lost the second Shevchenko fight, and then edged her out in the first fight. But every other greatest female fighter of all time, you run the top 5 female fighters of all time, who's after Nunes? Cyborg, knocked her out first round. Holly, knocked her out. Ronda, knocked her out first round. Misha knocked her out. Shevchenko beat her officially twice. Like, the only one maybe like Gina Carano, who's just well before her time. Like, that's kind of the only one. But every other GOAT, every other top female fighter ever, Nunes beat them and beat them decisively. And that cannot be discounted. I've ran through anybody you would think about putting in my class. I ran through them. I have to respect that.
Right.
And you can make an argument for GSP. I'm not mad at that. But for me, he had the long run, but he played it too safe for me. It didn't really bother me that he played it too safe, and he had those couple of hiccups. The Matt Hughes loss, even though Matt Hughes was great at that time, that was a really bad loss. And that Matt Serra loss is just got off.
Right.
I'm sorry. That Matt Serra loss is just terrible.
Right.
But I have GSP right there. You can kind of move around. To me, that's the top class. And then you can throw in guys like Fedor, like Dan Henderson, Shogun, the different, a lot of other different guys, Aldo and Dominic Cruz, whoever else you want to throw in there, kind of in the bottom half. But to me, that 6 is the top 6, and you can kind of arrange them however you want.
No Cormier.
Nah, Cormier would be in my top 10, in the bottom half of the top 10. But not
bottom half top 10. Okay.
Bottom half top 10. Not up there.
So before was Cormier up there before the second loss to Stipe?
Yes, and I think if he'd beaten Stipe, he would be in that conversation, because to me he would have solidified himself as the greatest heavyweight of all time, and the 2-division champ, defended both belts at the same time. Like, there's very few people who can say they did that. And to me, that would have gotten it. Now, Cormier is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, but you have to put Stipe ahead of him. He won 2 out of 3. You're probably putting Fedor ahead of him. And then you kind of get into between like him, Big Nog, and Kane, maybe, that's kind of in that next class. But had he beaten Stipe the second time, I think he'd be in this conversation. But he didn't. And even still, the man has 3 losses in his career, 1 to arguably the best fighter of all time, and 2 to the best UFC heavyweight ever, and arguably the greatest heavyweight ever in that conversation. So you can't drop him because he lost to the elitist of the elite all-time great fighters. Right.
All right.
I
think my top 5 is pretty much the same. I'd flip John Jones and Silva. I got John number 1. He's just my GOAT. I kind of came in at the back end of the Silva era,
right?
But definitely John is my GOAT so far. Then I got Silva. Then I do have GSP.
Okay.
And then it's just, I get Mighty Mouse, but I get Mighty Mouse, and I know that's your man's. We go back and forth all the time about
that.
This. I know that's your man's. I get it.
I'm fully full context. Mouse is my favorite fighter of all time. I have zero problems admitting that. I have zero problems admitting that. That does not mean say I can't be unbiased, because I do believe I can be. But Mouse is Mouse is my favorite fighter of all time. I'll completely.
And I'm a Triple C fan.
Right, and that's why we go at it.
That's what it was. Triple C. Yeah, I fucks with Triple C, man. I fucks with Triple C. But yeah, so I got GSP number 3. I got Khabib 4. And then I got Nunes 5. Just can't. At first, I wanted to put Mighty Mouse in there, but he's honorable mention for me, man. he just because of the level of competition he had that I saw, it was just like, I understand that sometimes that could mean you're just so much better.
I do think that's
part what I mean,
but it's the Roy Jones theory to me. It's kind of the Roy Jones thing, where it was just like, this is my natural weight class, and I haven't not fought the top people here. It's just these guys are smaller than me. These guys are bigger than me. It's kind of doesn't work. Mouse fought half of his career just about at an upper weight class. Fighting at 135 was not good for him. And he still made it to a title fight while not being a full-time MMA fighter and not training full-time. Right. like how ridiculous that is. The man was training a couple times a week, made it to the UFC, and made it to a UFC bantamweight title fight at 135 pounds while training part-time and working at like a factory or some shit. Like, that shit makes zero sense. You're not supposed to be able to do some shit like that. Marcus says he got Fedor ahead of Khabib. Fedor's run was a little bit before my time. I'm not a lot of the Pride stuff. I've gone back and watched a lot of the Pride stuff, and he ran through them dudes.
I still got to.
The Big Nog, like that Big Nog fight was ridiculous. The Crow Cop fight, Prime Crow Cop was a killer of killers, and he ran through them dudes. I'm not gonna argue that much. Fedor, just not for me. It's just a little bit before my era. But I cannot argue if someone believes Fedor should be in top five discussion. I'm not going to argue that because the man is.
And he never had a UFC run. That's what kind of makes me not put him in my top five. Like, to me, I'm gonna be real. Everybody that's in my top five, you have to have a UFC run. To me, just me personally, because I honestly feel that's where the best fighters in the world are. Like, for instance, I'm a big Michael Page fan.
Right.
But at the same time, the level of competition I've seen Michael Page fight it's not right. So,
and we've seen it. And we've seen guys come over here and they ain't the same.
Ben Askren, the most recent
example. Hector Lombard had won like 30-something straight fights, and they were going, he might be the best middleweight in the world, while Anderson Silva was still fighting. And he came over here and was getting worked. Will Brooks, Bellator lightweight champ, beat Michael Chandler, who's now a big signing. He just got announced into the lightweight, Will Brooks beat him. Like, if I'm not mistaken, twice. I might be wrong on that, but
right.
He definitely beat him at least once.
He was a substitute just in case anything happened for a Khabib fight. So he was going to get a championship fight if one of them fell out.
And Will Brooks came over here and did absolutely nothing. So we've seen stuff like that. So if Page, if MVP does get over here eventually, I'm gonna be not holding my breath to see. He did, Marcus. I'm not doubting Fedor's credentials. And at the time, and I will say this, at the time, Fedor was the guy, the best fighters were in Pride. Like, that's at Fedor's peak, he was in the best MMA company, organization, whatever you want to call it. So I cannot deny that. Again, I'm not going to argue against Fedor in any way. Man is all time. So in no way am I going to argue. Now, since we're here on this GOAT conversation, and that is your boy, why can't he just let
It's just Gerard's brother. You know why? I blame Gerard for this.
It's a Jones thing.
I blame Gerard for this because they related.
It's a Jones thing?
I blame you. I blame Gerard for this because Gerard's a petty nigga. And if John is a smidget of what Gerard is, of course he'd say something like this. Of course he wouldn't let Khabib have this moment.
Why would we? Why would we? If
I
you
didn't say.
go,
Look, first of all, I didn't say I was mad at it. So that's just one. I just blame you, Gerard. That's all.
that's fucked up. But y'all go back to y'all show. I'm backstage.
Yeah, go backstage.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to show up. That's all.
Right. 901 Daiquiris. Appreciate y'all.
But basically his comments are 12 championship fights to 4. And he stated a good point. He said Khabib's just now starting to face elite competition. I think his first elite fight was Conor. I wouldn't
say the
count
Dos Anjos. I'd throw Dos
Okay.
Anjos. Dos Anjos is a champ. Dos Anjos is a former champ. I'll give him that one too.
Okay.
But yeah, no.
And Barboza did have a lot of hype behind him.
Barboza still is. It ain't like Barboza ain't ranked in the top 10 and ain't been ranked in the top 10 damn near his whole career.
But he made Barboza look bad. But I don't think Barboza was the same after that Khabib fight.
Yeah, that was a whole different. He battered him. Like, he broke Barboza. That was unbelievable. I don't think John Jones is wrong. It's two things for me. One, you gave him the credit first. Like, his first tweet after Khabib said what he said was like,
Got it. Yep, I did see that.
I'll give it to you until I get I think he meant to say heavyweight, and the Twitter be fucking up sometimes. Said until I get the heavyweight crown, I'll give it to you or whatever.
Right.
So that's your first. Why then, a few minutes later, are you going 15 championships greater than 4? And then going back and saying, out of respect, you're great, Khabib, and respect to you. And then going back again and saying, like, my judgment ain't clouded or what. It's just pick side. If you're embracing, I talked to my brother about this, who's also a Jones fan, and it's, if you're going to be the bad guy that a lot of people have finally come around to seeing that he is, and kind of embrace, if you're going to embrace the bad guy role, embrace it. I'm fine with that. I get it. No problem with it. Totally respect it. Don't flip-flop.
Right.
Like, don't flip-flop. And at some point, like, okay, you had your fun on Saturday. It's Wednesday. Why are you still making videos talking about this?
He's offended.
It's for what? Again, I'm of the thought process now that I think he's just trolling. Like, at first I thought, he might be a little offended. When he's making videos on Tuesday, Wednesday, it's like, all right, now you're just trolling. Like, you have to be just trolling. There's no way you can be this damn sensitive that those comments bothered you that much that you still have to make videos this long after the fact. I
don't know. John is pretty petty. John doesn't let shit go.
He is. And I'll just throw this out there. Khabib is a teammate of Cormier's. So maybe that plays a little role in it too. Maybe just don't fuck with that whole camp.
That definitely, because you know how much Cormier loves Khabib. So
right,
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And it's just like, if it's Adesanya, I get it. Because y'all might fight.
It's an upcoming fight. Right.
You have literally nothing to gain from this.
Right.
Nothing. There's literally zero. It's just trolling for the sake of trolling, if we're being real.
Right.
And I think that's what kind of, like, with Adesanya stuff, I'll go back and forth on it. I don't care for some of the stuff. And he kind of, he makes the first, it's always, he's not doing anything.
Right.
Like, you said you were going up to heavyweight. We ain't had a heavyweight fight yet. You go back to talking stuff to the new light heavyweight champ that won the belt that you vacated. And then you're still going at the middleweight champ, who's now 2 divisions lower than where you're fighting at. Like, just it's getting a little annoying. It's to take nothing away from his skill level, because he absolutely is one of, if not the greatest fighter of all time. It's just it's just getting a little much for me.
To be honest with you, bro, I just think it's John being John, man. Like, I've seen John do this time and time again, bro. And it's anybody that has a big fight, John is chiming in. John's always watching. Like, anytime I watch any UFC, whether it be a fight night or a pay-per-view, there's a couple John Jones tweets that go across the screen. You know what I'm saying? So he trolled Blachowicz when Blachowicz won. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something that John does. So I'm not surprised by it. And then it's not like there's not fact in it. Like, there's a lot of people that do have prisoner of the moment type feelings. That's why I wasn't ready. Very true. That's why I wasn't ready. I kind of like, at first, I saw my boy Ronnie say Khabib was the GOAT. Yeah. It's easy to look at 29-0 in that division, which is crazy, and automatically assume that he's the GOAT, forgetting that Khabib was just starting just because you beat Conor, you was just starting to get in your bag a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You didn't exactly clean out the division. The Tony fight never happened. You know what I mean? So I get where John is coming from. Like, John's competition, if you stack up John's competition.
You stack up John's competition to anybody, John wins. Period. You don't stack up anyone's competition to John's competition. John's competition is God tier. To answer Marcus' question, I think there's more lucrative fights for John in the heavyweight division. Yeah, Stipe fight and the Ngannou fight are bigger than anything he'll get at light heavyweight.
I'm so scared of that Ngannou fight for him. I got, like, you, Corey, you know that feeling. Like, I got a bad feeling about the Ngannou fight. Like, just because I don't know if because he's cutting weight and John's body's past that. Now, that could be something that is what's up with John and why he doesn't look the same and why we're starting to see slippage. Right. It's because maybe his body isn't fit to make that cut anymore. He
was already a big, like, his frame is built for heavyweight.
When he came back from suspension, when we was watching videos of John just in the garage.
Ooh, that suspension.
John looked a lot bigger than what we've known John to look like. So it looked like his body adjusted.
Look at his family.
NFL players.
It's the best athletic family in America. like big dudes. Arthur Jones was a huge D. Like, they're both D linemen. Right. Like, both of them are D linemen. Chandler is probably the smallest, and he's like 240, so like probably. You know, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure in that range as a DN outside linebacker, you're at least 230, 240. Right. You know, and Arthur was a big D lineman. Arthur was like a D tackle, like probably close to 300. So yeah, I do think the bigger fight for him are at heavyweight, and I think that's why he's going there for the money fights. And same thing with Adesanya, and why I think he's been going at Adesanya, because that is far bigger. That's the biggest fight, quite frankly, that they could make for John right now is the Adesanya fight, and he's looking to, cement his legacy. That being said, I did want to run into some of these numbers that John threw out here. He said he has 15 championship wins. Officially, now in that 15, he's counting his last fight before he came to the UFC, which was at Battle Cage Extreme, in which he won their light heavyweight championship. He is also counting his overturn to a no contest win over Daniel Cormier. So that's it's a win. Like officially it's a no contest, but he's not Cormier. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just throwing out the official, because he's throwing in winning the belt itself and title defenses. That's the number that he's throwing out there. which the
Right.
4 for Khabib is right. Khabib didn't have any title fights outside of the UFC, just the 4 he had in the UFC.
Right.
So officially, John has 14. 1 outside the UFC and 13 in the UFC. And then you have the second Cormier fight, which depending on how you want to throw in it.
Right.
So then that got me to looking through some other of the GOAT conversations. So, like I said, Khabib only had the 4. Nunes has 8 just in the UFC. That's all of them. 6 at bantamweight, 2 at featherweight, 8 total. That's what Nunes has, period. 0 to, kind of finagle with or mess with. Mouse officially has 12. 1 loss to Cejudo, official loss.
He lost Corey. He lost.
Whatever.
He lost Corey.
Okay. I'm not going to argue that at this point.
Another episode.
I'm not. Yeah, that'll be a different one. He also has. He just won the flyweight, the one championship, flyweight Grand Prix championship. Which, how do you count that? That's 3 wins in a tournament, depending on how you want to look at that. You could also say he won the flyweight tournament, the UFC flyweight tournament, the Crown of Champ, which technically that semifinal match isn't for a title, but it's a tournament to crown a champion. Every fight is kind of a title fight, if you want to look at it that way, if you wanted to. So Mouse could have 15 if you want to work in a Grand Prix championship, and actually 16 if you wanted to count 3 Grand Prix championship wins and 1 at ONE FC and his other tournament fight in the UFC. That would be 16 if you wanted to do that.
Right.
GSP, 16. One of those 16 was an interim title fight. I'm still going to count that. He also has the 2 losses.
Right. Right.
But 16 total in the UFC, and that includes the 1 win at middleweight over Bisping, and he had 3 before he got to the UFC.
Right.
At a regional one. And then Anderson Silva. Officially 15. 4 in Cage Rage, 11 in the UFC. But the reason 1 wasn't a title defense is because Travis Lutter missed weight. So officially that wasn't a title defense because the challenger could not win the belt.
Right.
So that doesn't go on record as a title defense, but that wasn't anything that Silva did. Silva showed up and obviously destroyed Travis Lutter. So by all accounts, Silva really is 16, which also would have given his consecutive defense streak 11, and he would have been tied with Mouse. Him and Mouse would be tied with 11 consecutive defenses. 16 on him, 16. If we want to count all of these stuff and bend every little rule, you got 16 for Silva, GSP, and Mouse, and 15 for Bones. If we wanted to stretch that. Right. Officially, GSP is 16, Silva is 15, Bones is 14, and Mouse has 12.
Right.
That's the official numbers. But Jones got me down that path because I really, really want to see that. Because, yeah, you've got that on Khabib. What do you have against the other ones? Right. And the only reason he doesn't is because John Jones is a fuck up. Is what it is.
So it's clear. So even though there's that many title defenses and there's clearly people more than him that has more than him. So John being the GOAT, is that more based off of the title defenses or the competition he faced?
To me, it's the competition. To me, his biggest argument is the competition.
Okay.
It's. I mean, look at his. I'm going to give me a second. I'm going to look this. This is the run that he went on. Okay. Ryan Bader was his 12th win. Ryan Bader, who's now, I believe, Bellator heavyweight champion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was to get the title shot. Shogun, 3rd round TKO to win the belt. Rampage Jackson, 4th round submission. Lyoto Machida, 2nd round submission. Rashad Evans, unanimous decision. Fedor Belfort, 4th round submission. Chael Sonnen, 1st round TKO. Gustafsson, unanimous decision. Glover, another decision. And then Daniel Cormier. Consecutively. That's nothing but Hall of Famers. It's fucking ridiculous the level of competition he had. I don't think anyone will ever go on a run like that again.
Right.
With that level of Hall of Famers. To me, that's his arguments. I beat the best run of great fighters, and for the most part dominated them, with only really the Gustafsson fight being close, and he won that fight. All 5 of those rounds are actually pretty clear to me. It's a pretty clear 3-2 with the winner of each round being kind of obvious for me. But yeah, problem with Jones is you're a fuck up. You popped twice. You got suspended, and then you turned a 4-year suspension into a 1.5-year suspension by cooperating with USADA, and then you claim that you're not a snitch, even though the clause that they all looked at,
fucking paperwork came out.
The paperwork literally says, in order for this to have happened, you had to provide significant information regarding someone who's violating USADA. So I'm sorry, dog. I'm going with like legit official paperwork from government bodies that either, and maybe USADA is just that much full of shit, or dog, you snitched to get us. He should still be suspended right now.
He should have got 4 years.
He should have got 4 years.
Yeah.
He would be, like he should. It's absolutely, But again, not to take away from his talent, it's the other stuff that really bothers me about.
I think this heavyweight run is what's going to show us if he's truly the GOAT or not.
If he beats Stipe and Ngannou, no one could argue he's like that'd be the equivalent of LeBron winning titles number 5 and 6.
Do you think he'll just face them two and that's it?
No, I mean it depends on the landscape. You don't know who's going to pop up, who's going to suddenly get hot, and all of a sudden there's another big money fight somewhere else.
I'm gonna be real with you. I think that Cormier fight still happens at heavyweight.
I don't think so.
Why?
I think Cormier doesn't. I think Cormier is at a better point. I think he's more content. I think he knows he's kind of past it. He went on 2 years longer than he said he was going to go on as it was. And he's got other avenues, not just commentating and doing UFC analysis. I think he's going to pop up in WWE, quite frankly, because he's got this. He'll do way better in WWE than Cain Velasquez did, because he can talk.
Right.
Cormier can talk, and I don't think he needs it. I just think he's in a different spot. I think he kind of accepted like Jones got me. Like it's just what it is. I don't think that happens anymore. I think the Adesanya fight is the far more likely fight. I think Cormier is done. He's 40 something. He got in this game late,
Right.
and that's after training for normal sports, as crazy as it is. Training in wrestling for the Olympics multiple times, it's like torture. like that's a whole different level of shit. I think his body's done. I think he's finished. I don't see that happening.
Right.
For me. before we get to closing this down, we do got to touch on co-main event. Robert Whittaker, unanimous decision over Jared Cannonier. Whittaker looked great.
Whittaker's looked damn good these last 2 fights.
He's looked outstanding. And those are Darren Till and Cannonier are two legit.
You picked Cannonier.
I did pick Cannonier. I was dead wrong. Whittaker has in these last.
Wait, didn't Cannonier break something in the fight?
He did. He broke his arm early in the fight.
Yeah, okay, so that.
Which hurts. But what Whittaker's done? Whittaker's problem is Whittaker got hit too much.
Yeah.
He was in those wars with Romero, and then he sat there and thought he could take out. If I can take punches from Romero and not go out, I can take punches from Adesanya, and it's a different level of precision when you're in there with Stalin. But he was getting hit too much,
right.
And he switched it up, and he's just fighting. His striking has just been at a different level, and I think they're gonna have to make that rematch with Whittaker and Stylebender, unless you're doing Stylebender Jones, which I don't think is happening yet.
Me neither. I think John's dead set on that heavyweight run for right now. I don't think he's ready to cut back down to.
They'd fight at 205. They'd fight at 205 for sure.
Yeah, I know. I don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to make that cut to fight Izzy right now.
Right. So yeah, with that, it has to be Whittaker. The man he's a long time middleweight champ. And that man defended the belt in some wars, and then he comes out and beats 2 more top 5 contenders, including the guy that the champ said was next if he won. And you beat them both clearly. I don't think you lost a round.
Right.
It's got to be the rematch, and I'm still going Stylebender. I'm not picking Stylebender. There's certain guys who just reach the point where you don't bet against them, regardless of who they're fighting. Stylebender is at that point.
Right.
If I take a loss on a Stylebender bet, I'm going to take that loss.
Right. At this point, definitely, yeah.
Right. There's certain people like Nunes or Shevchenko or Jones, at light heavyweight. It's just Khabib. If I take this loss, I'll take this loss. But,
right.
But it's. I still think Adesanya wins that rematch, but I think that has to be the fight to make with what Whittaker's showing.
I did come in here Adesanya versus Blachowicz too. I did hear that. I'm just saying they starting to throw Izzy's name in that 205 division already. Because to me, he's cleaned out that division. Like, there's nobody else I want to see him fight in the middleweight division.
You're probably right. Take a quick look. Let's see. Middleweight. Yeah, Whittaker, Costa, Cannonier, Hermanson, Romero, Till. Yeah.
I don't want to see him fight Darren Till. Like, after the ass whooping Whittaker just put on him, he's not ready. I don't want to see that.
He'll destroy Hermanson, and Cannonier just kind of messed his shot up. Yeah, I mean, a Whittaker, unless someone just kind of goes on a run out of nowhere, it's a rematch with Whittaker and nothing else. And that ain't to say the light heavyweight is some amazing division, but going up, I'm just imagining Adesanya coming out, hitting the dance routine before the fight, beating Blachowicz or whoever's the champ at that time, and then coming out and calling out John Jones after.
It's that's the fight. Like, if you think about it, the Blachowicz fight, that's the fight to make. Even though I know Jan wants to clear out the division, they always say that shit.
If I'm Blachowicz, I'm calling for that fight for sure.
For fucking sure.
Sure. Good God, that's 10 times bigger than any fight he'd get with any other light heavyweight. It's 100%. If he can pull that, yeah, go pull that. I don't think that'll be the case. I think they're going to give it to Santos. Or is Santos and Glover still fighting?
Yeah.
So I think though, the winner of that the winner of that fight will fight Blachowicz, and I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. I like both of those guys. They're both good. But yeah, middleweight, you've got to do the rematch. There's legitimately no other fight to make. I don't even know if guys outside of the UFC at middleweight that no, it's
no. The Whitaker fight's the one to make if you're going to make. If it's a middleweight fight, that's the only fight to make.
And it's still a huge fight, and you could still, especially if stuff starts opening back up, that I guarantee that'll still be a huge fight in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Again,
that's a sellout.
Again, for the second time, that will still be a ridiculous fight, for sure. I'm fine with it because Whitaker fights are usually good. Just keep it real. Whitaker's outstanding, and he's earned that. Man's, former champ, come out here and blow through two of the top 5 contenders back to back. Within a few months of each other. Now Whitaker deserves that fight, so I'm not mad at that.
Right.
Real quick before we get to your last favorite topic, that front kick that Alexander Volkov threw to Walt Harris in that third fight, the sound effect that Walt Harris made when he took that kick. If anyone ever questions how can you go down from a body shot, show them that clip and show them the sound with the sound up and hear the noise that Walt Harris made when he took that kick to the.
Look, man, I feel bad for my man's Walt because I'm picking Walt because you know what happened with his daughter. So
right.
Picking Walt this is gonna be the fight, Walt. This is gonna be the fight, Walt.
This is it. He's someone you root for. He is absolutely someone you root for. But yeah, that was I grabbed my stomach and doubled over when I saw. Whew. And it really made you wait, did he kick him low? Like the way he crawled, did he kick him low? And then you look at it, it's no, that was damn near the chest. That wasn't even close to being low. That was just a perfect kick with a toe digging into. Whew. Shout out to Volkov. He's like Dirk. He's like Dirk. And I hate comparing white athletes to white athletes automatically. It's the easy thing to do. I really hate that. But there's nothing assuming about look at his eyes, this kind of tall white dude. He's not overly muscular. He's not nothing about him that much stands out. And you think, all right, well, if I just do these couple things, this is easy, and it's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go.
Right.
It's just he was beating Derek Lewis for 14 minutes of a 15-minute fight. Derek Lewis caught him, but Volkov deserves a little love. But
Marcus called that shit out during the show. I remember that. He was like, damn, but my shit was lagged behind.
Yeah.
So he was just like, damn, Walt. Damn, Walt.
Woo. Rough night. All right, last up, this is the one you wanted.
Hey,
this
man,
is
look.
what you've been waiting for.
I don't know. For all my UFC heads out there who follow, I watch a whole bunch of interviews, bro. UFC is pretty much my top sport or what I pay attention to. Tony Ferguson is out here tripping, bro. I don't know if there's brain damage after the Gaethje fight or if he didn't learn not a goddamn thing from him getting his ass kicked. But he's out here calling out Khabib again. He's out here saying he's willing to go up to 170 and fight Usman for the title.
He'll die.
What you think, bro? Me, and Tony's mannerisms are very crackish. I'm gonna just put it that way. But what you think, bro? Because I think he's wilding, man.
I wouldn't say it's crack. It's something.
Him and John got the same plug.
It may be, but he's a weird dude. He's always been a very, very weird. Like, not just his recent interviews. Watch his interviews 2-3 years ago. Dude's, it's crazy. He had I don't remember the outcome of it, so pardon me if some of this got cleared and different stuff like that. He had like a domestic violence charge and like a restraining order by his wife or girlfriend or something like that. And then like he's just out in the world, just running around. Like he's got some mental stuff happening. The man tore a ligament in his knee, got surgery, and then just didn't rehab and said, I can rehab it my own way. And like 3 months after surgery with no rehab, he's out here bouncing around, breakdancing on Instagram, running around, doing whatever the fuck he did. And then like 2 months after that, he fights Anthony Pettis and beats the shit out of Anthony Pettis. Like,
Yeah.
he's you're not supposed. He's weird. He's a crazy dude. There's something going on, but dog, that could be fine not happen. You got to win a couple fights. Sorry, you're coming off.
He's still carrying around the belt.
You have the interim belt. Still lost. Bad to Gaethje. That wasn't a close fight. Gaethje beat the shit out of you. So you got some work to do to be calling out a retired guy. You're gonna have to fight whoever. Start with I'd love to see him versus Dan Hooker.
I would like to see that fight.
Both of them coming off competitive, tough losses to top guys. You do that.
Competitive against Gaethje?
Okay, he wasn't as competitive as Gaethje. Hooker was a competitive fight with Poirier.
Yes, that was a competitive
That was
fight.
a great fight. That was one of the best fights of the year. If you haven't watched Poirier and Dan Hooker, get your life together and go watch that shit. But I'm down. You start there. You beat a Dan Hooker or hold on, let me look. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably the best one. Charles Oliveira's right there. Paul Felder. Did he already fight Paul Felder? Can't recall.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think he fought Paul.
Then one of those, Paul Felder or Dan Hooker. You start with
I don't
both.
like that. I don't like that fight for Paul Felder though. It's gonna keep
I don't either. That might go bad.
I don't like that fight for Paul Felder, man. And that's my guy.
Right. I rock with Felder. But he's got to start with a fight like that. That's the point. Tony's got to start with something like that. If you get through, again, let's say Hooker, because to me that's the fight to make that be an amazing fight. You get through that, now we can talk about you fighting a Poirier or a Connor or something like that.
Right.
But stay away from 170.
When he said that, I immediately hit you. I picked up my phone immediately. Right. I was like, "Hey, bro, he's tripping. If you think you about to go against Usman and a Colby Covington, as much as I hate saying the nigga name, he's nice. He's not. I cannot front. Colby got some shit with him. Masvidal.
Don't go in there with Masvidal. Do not go in there with Masvidal. Stay far, far away from Usman. He will murder you. Quite frankly, stay away from someone like Wonder Boy, who will technical strike you. You couldn't technical strike with Gaethje.
I said it to myself. I said the only person, honestly, and I said Cowboy would be in the fight.
They already fought, I thought, didn't they?
They did, but I think they fought at 155.
Right.
But Cowboy's a different fighter at 170 than he is at 155.
Very true. Very true.
But that's the only fight that I could possibly see Tony winning. Because they're not going to put him in there with somebody that's not in the top 10. You get what I'm saying? So
So that's what I'm looking at, and yeah, he shouldn't get a top 5 guy off rip. But bottom part of the top 10.
Facts, Marcus.
Yeah,
still
we
mad
saw
at
that
Tyron.
coming.
I'm still mad at Tyron.
Tyron. We all still mad at Tyron. Hell yeah, that was fucking embarrassment. Couple guys at the bottom part of the top 10 at 170. Neil Magny.
Ooh, that would be a good fight.
Right? Neil Magny and Vicente Luque.
Ooh, I don't like that Luque fight for.
I'd favor Luque too, but I think those if you're gonna start at 170, he got to start there. Bottom top 10 guys, and if you can get through, because those are guys that you're not just gonna roll through. If you roll through them, you did something.
Yeah, we could talk.
Did something. So if you can get through that, then yeah, he can do that. But nah, stay away from 170. Ferguson is wild. He's a little bit insane. He's got some. I legit think he's got some mental issues.
Yeah, me too.
That's Stay
because he gets hit a lot. Like
a lot.
He doesn't have that style to where I don't think he's switching it either. Because that's why I text when I messaged you, I was like, bruh, he obviously didn't learn shit.
Yeah.
Like usually fighters learn after ass kicking like that. It don't matter it went 4 or 5 rounds. He got his ass kicked in those last 2. Like that's something that fighters don't usually come back from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for him not to learn anything and then him to mention 170.
You got man got death wish. It's the only way I can put it. It's wild. It's wild. Stay away from 170, Tony Ferguson. Please. You're not a huge 155er. Like,
he's not.
You're a good size 155er, but you're not a huge 155er.
He said 170 is his true weight.
Just because you don't have to cut as much to make one to that, the game don't work like that. I've witnessed it firsthand. My brother didn't know how to cut weight for shit, and he should have been fighting at 170, but he didn't know how to cut weight, so he was taking fights at 185. And dude's just fucking huge. Yeah. There's a difference. Tony, stay away from 170. Real quick before we get out. Fight night card this Saturday. Anderson Silva, Uriah Hall. Who you got? In what may be Anderson Silva's last fight, at least in the UFC.
Uriah Hall should win this fight, bro. Like, you know why I don't trust Anderson Silva's legs?
Yeah.
I just after the fight with Cannonier, I don't trust his legs, and I know Uriah Hall is going to use that. But you know what? Since it's his last fight, he's saying this is his last fight in the UFC. Kind of leading on to that. He's fighting after this.
Right. Technically, he has one more fight left on his contract.
Yeah, but him and Dana
are kind of Dana don't like.
Dana didn't want him to fight again. Period.
Dana don't like black people like that. So
right, yeah.
This is a problem with Uriah. Uriah not a killer.
He's not.
It's literally what stopped him from being as great as he should have been.
Yeah.
That man got a win over Gegard Mousasi. Like, let's be, you do not beat Gegard Mousasi by mistake.
Right.
He finished him. Skill-wise, Uriah Hall should win this fight. Technically, Silva doesn't have a win, I think, he has one win in his last 8 fights.
Yikes.
One of those losses was to Bisping, which I personally thought he won. But I also don't think he won the fight that they gave him, which was against Derek Brunson. And there's also the Nick Diaz fight, which he won, but I believe both of them popped after that fight. So that's officially a no contest.
Right.
I'm rooting for Anderson Silva.
I'm rooting for Anderson too.
He's one of my 5 favorite fighters ever. I've all love in the world for Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Real quick about Derek Brunson. I've been inboxing this man. Somebody tell Derek Brunson to answer my damn question. Trying to get him on the show. He been watching the convos at the shop stores. Hey, bro, you watching? Answer the inbox, bro.
Let's do it, Derek.
We see you. We see you. You number 7. We see you.
Great win, by the way.
That was a outstanding. He ended the hype train. They thought they found their next. They thought they found their next little star, and Brunson ended that real quick. All respect. Now, whether he can get himself
shout
back
out to
into
Derek
that time,
Brunson, man.
Yeah, big shout out to Derek Brunson.
Brunson number 7.
Number 7. Brunson's problem has been cracking those top guys. Brunson's problem has been getting above that hump. He's been there in that area, but I mean, he's lost to Adesanya already, first round. Jacare, he's lost to Jacare twice. Once in Strikeforce, once in the UFC. He's lost to Yoel Romero, and he's lost to Robert Whittaker. So just about all of the top guys there, he's lost to right now, unfortunately. So he's going to have to do some extra work to, kind of make that jump.
Yeah, man. Get that buzz going. Come to conversations at the shop. Talk your shit.
Right.
And we gonna post it.
I'm rooting for everything.
We're gonna let you post it. We gonna post it.
Rooting for everything.
Yeah, bro. Black. Come holler at us. Come have a conversation with us, man.
Let's do this. All respect. All respect to anyone. Quite frankly, who hops in a cage at any level. All respect. It ain't what you think. It ain't. So officially, I'm picking Uriah Hall.
I'll go with Silva.
But in my heart,
I got Silva with one last show.
In my heart, I am rooting for Anderson Silva, but I have to pick Uriah Hall. And this is actually a pretty decent card on ESPN Plus. But boy, Thug Nasty is the co-main event. Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Fili. Thug Nasty's my guy. I'll rock with him. I'll rock with him. And everyone's favorite UFC heavyweight, Greg Hardy, is also fighting on the card again in the third fight against Maurice Green.
See what he learned, because didn't he just lose against Volkov?
Was it Volkov that gave him business? I can't remember. No, he beat Jorgen. Oh, right, he fought De Castro. He did. Volkov beat him prior to that fight. That was last November.
Okay,
and then he came back and fought De Castro, who was a really good striker and for some reason was just scared to strike. And Hardy got a decision win there. And he did look better. In all fairness, Greg Hardy did look better. I just don't care for the things the man's done personally.
I feel
but him versus Maurice Green, who's a big, tall heavyweight. It's some good fights. For an ESPN Plus card, you're getting arguably the greatest fighter of all time, one of the best strikers against one of the best strikers we've seen. And you're getting a up-and-coming lightweight and what should be a good heavyweight fight. Featherweight, Bryce Mitchell and Andre Fili. So definitely a card. It's always the ones you think ain't shit that be the best.
Yeah, that's how it is, bro.
Always how it is.
That's how it is, bro.
always, who's this? I barely care about this. This is some women's featherweight fight and a men's flyweight co-main event. No one cares about that. And then there's 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 1 fight of the year candidate. And like
Right.
that's how it ends up happening.
Right.
So that being said, I think we about done here. We're trying to make this a regular thing.
Yeah.
We about to expand the shop. We trying to expand it. You know, y'all get y'all the overarching main pod, then we can branch off into stuff like this, into a football centric one, into a basketball centric one, into whatever we want to touch on.
Yeah.
And it's just the beginning.
We gotta get Dustin on the show one time.
We gotta get Dustin on. We gotta get Mooka on if he ever responds when we need him. Mooka always around, and then when you really need Mooka to pop up, Mooka's nowhere to be found.
That's kind of true.
So
it's kind of true. We were supposed to do a show with Mooka one night. Mooka never showed up.
Like 2-3 days straight, we are like, yo, we doing this, we ready. Day of, nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
5-6 hours later, oh man,
because you and Mooka are like the aficionados. I'm just supposed to play host while you and Mooka go back and forth at it. Like,
who else? Brett and Jordan are usually pretty on there too. So, you know, we gonna make some stuff happen.
You gotta get Marcus on here too. Marcus know a little bit.
Marcus, yeah, for sure. And you know, me and Marcus got to get our minds off of our football team. So, you know, excuse me, Marcus is now a Chiefs fan. My bad.
No. He a Chiefs fan on Sundays. It ain't Sunday. He a Cowboy fan today.
Okay.
We gotta have Gerard on the show.
He a Cowboy fan today.
We gotta get Gerard on the show to tell us what the fuck John be thinking.
Right. Get your
no. I'm gonna just get John on the show. I'm gonna take a step back on these shows, and I'm gonna be responsible for getting y'all guests, and that's gonna be my whole goal. My whole goal is to have this whole conversations at the shop, as in we all have different conversations at the shop, bro.
Right.
That's the whole goal, bro.
Get the whole Jones family, all of them. Arthur, Chandler, all 3 of y'all.
Yeah, all 3 of them. They gonna come. Just be patient with me. That's all I ask.
I already know Corey gonna be the one with all the hard questions.
If I know, listen, as a graduate of the illustrious Howard University with a degree in broadcast journalism, it would behoove me if I didn't do proper research and have prepared questions for any guest who would come along.
I noticed that shit on the show today. I was like, Corey in the interview with one of them? Oh my God.
That's just me being a great journalist. I wouldn't ask anything out of line to be disrespectful anyway. But are you going to ask some real questions?
Ask some real questions.
Ask some real questions. You know, I'll do all the necessary research. I'll go into some stuff. But you know, still, all respect to Jones, and once again, the man is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and I will never, ever take. He would have lost to Silva. He don't do good with elite strikers. We know this. It's been proven.
So you got Adesanya?
Yes.
He's not good.
He's not good with elite strikers. That is his weak point.
If Adesanya could stay away from the clinch,
I think Adesanya is stronger than people. Like everyone keeps, he's the skinny guy who's weak, and then they get in the cage with him, like Romero, and they think they could just muscle him over, and it's not going the way you think it's going to go. Like, I mean, in fairness, Jones is a whole different level of
his win over Paulo Costa.
That was a masterpiece.
To me, That's why I kind of don't like the Whittaker fight. Because to me, the Paulo Costa fight was the fight you have before you go fight John. That's just my opinion.
That fight was a masterpiece. That was a master class of striking. John can't. He tried it. He's tried it before. He switched that game plan up with Lyoto Machida real quick. Oh, I could sit here and strike with this karate Lyoto. Oh, shit. Grab him. We're not doing this shit no more. We're fuck that.
Time to go to sleep.
Now.
We're not. Gustafson.
Time to go night-night.
Yep. Gus took a Hail Mary spinning elbow.
Time to go
Turn
night-night.
that fight around. Just saying. Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos. It's not great with elite strikers. So if that were to happen, my money would be on Adesanya.
I don't know who I want to pick yet. I just don't. I don't know. I gotta see. Since it's gonna be. I gotta see one more from Izzy. I keep saying that shit though. Every fight he has.
Soft.
Like, I gotta
He's
see.
soft.
Nah. That he's a dog. Like I'm not gonna sit here in front. Like Izzy is a
soft.
dog.
I ain't saying he ain't a dog, but you soft. Make a pick.
Right.
You can change
I'm
it.
soft.
It ain't set in stone to the fight. Until the fight, it ain't set in stone to the fight set in stone. So you can change your mind, bro. Make a pick.
Right now, I got John.
That's fine. And I'll give Jones this. That boy got a chin. He has a chin. He's taken some shots from Cormier knocked out heavyweights. And he ate some Cormier punches. That like very, very underrated part of Jones. Jones got the heart of a warrior, and he got a chin. He can take some damage. So I don't ever want to put that past him. I'm not saying it'd be a dog walk or anything like that. But to me, these are the kind of fighters that Jones has traditionally struggled with throughout his career. And Adesanya is on a level that 3 to 4 people, as far as striking, I'd put in that class.
The reason why I picked John, though, is because I don't think Izzy's ever seen anything like John.
I don't think John's ever seen anything like Izzy. I think that goes both ways.
It's kind of both ways. It is kind of both ways. It does go both ways.
It would be. I really do want that fight to happen.
It's gonna happen. Yo, it has to happen.
It has to. I think they're both kind of in on it. I think they're both like talking with each other, like, yeah, do this. The only thing I didn't like was when they got like mentioning parents and stuff like that. That was a step too far for me. I don't care for that. But other than that, I love it all, and that's going to be one of the biggest fights in UFC history, if and when that does happen. So let's make that happen.
Facts.
Let's make that happen.
Let's make it happen right here in Memphis, so I can go. I'll get my media pass. I'm gonna be on
Gerard.
You be lucky to get an ESPN Plus fight.
Hey man, look, I got a Tyson fight. I'm not putting it past us. We got a Tyson fight.
We've got UFC fights. I love going to UFC fights. They're awesome. That's one of the best. Listen, for all the hate in the world that Ronda Rousey has gotten, I was in the building for one of her last couple of big title defenses. When that graphic came up with Ronda Rousey's name on it, the entire energy of the building changed. When Bad Reputation hit, I see what people were talking about when they were like, you don't understand, like before the fight, like just seeing Tyson walk out, it was a whole different thing. That's legitimately what it was. Like that's what Ronda in the building was like, holy shit, this is different. And then she tapped out the girl in like 12 seconds.
It's like that wrestling field, bro. Like you don't appreciate a wrestling entrance until you see it live.
Right.
Yeah, it's always like that. You have to see it live. I tell people that shit all the time. They be like, why do you watch wrestling? I was like, you have to see it live. You don't understand.
Anyone who I've ever taken to a live wrestling show has been like,
imagine seeing a live show at Madison Square Garden, bro. Like those are my biggest, like a SmackDown with Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, all that shit in Madison Square Garden will forever be the greatest show I've ever seen, bro. The crowd reaction,
Right.
Bro, like
One of my biggest regrets is missing. I could have gone to the SummerSlam where Daniel Bryan beat John Cena for the world title. But I'd been back in LA for like maybe a year, and it just never clicked in my head. I'm a grown ass man. I got the money. Like I can just go to a WWE show. Like I can just buy a ticket and go. And it hadn't clicked for some reason. It hadn't clicked until a couple months after, and I was like, wait, what the hell's wrong with me? Like they got StubHub and all that. Like just buy a damn ticket. Like it didn't click, but that was when SummerSlam was happening at Staples Center for like 5 years ago, and I missed all that.
Bro, I got my brother is in LA. I call him my brother, be like my best friend, but like my brother is in LA. He entertainment lawyer, bro. He got I don't know if y'all seen the post the other day. He got the Free Huey TV show that he screenwriting.
Right.
Yeah, that giant. He in the quarterfinalists, so bro. Hey, the text message said, "If I make it, we on." That's all I need to hear, bro. Might be in LA soon, Corey.
Exactly. Shit will go down. It will go down.
Malik's coming with him.
That's fine. That's fine. Listen,
he's an entertainment lawyer. He's going
without me.
He's going to be your lawyer. What are you talking about? He's going to be your lawyer for your music. Fuck off. I sent you. I sent you. You don't call him. God.
You my manager, Gerard. What the fuck do you want me to? What you want the artist to do? I'm just supposed to write the song. That's what Malik does. I sing the songs. You handle the business. We settled this like a long time ago. Like you know my mind frame, dog. Like, come on, bro.
You do management things, right?
You the manager, bro.
I got you. You asked for his number, but I got you. I take care of it. I take care of it.
Well,
I got you. Good God.
Think that'll about do it for us then.
Y'all wrapping up.
After that nice little sidebar.
You get on your job, Gerard.
After that nice sidebar, I think we're done here because we're not going past that. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're going to make this a regular thing. Be on the lookout. We're making all this shit happen. For those interested, hit us up. You know, everybody here got open communication and all that shit. So,
facts.
We doing things.
Yes, open communication. Hit the inbox up. UFC show. If you want to be home, if you want to be a guest, inbox us. We will make sure that you get. Hey, look here now. Once we get y'all the time and set up, bro. Like if y'all don't show up, it's your fault.
Facts.
Right.
It's free.
We will do
free
right
now. You better get us while the price low.
We gonna handle shit on our end. That's fact.
But yeah. So
another
episode. Look at Fraz. Another episode of Conversations at the Shop. UFC edition. That's what we'll call it. The UFC edition of the shop.
Fights at the shop.
There we go.
Entrance music coming soon. Corey will talk.
Don't listen to him about entrance music. Don't listen to him. He's horrible at it.
What do you mean I'm horrible at it?
He's horrible at it.
It'll be a collaborative effort. How about that? Collaborative effort.
Episode 41. Episode 1 UFC fight review. We here. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know everything. We out this piece. I'm gonna leave the piece how we came in with the piece. Y'all make sure y'all shop with 901 Daiquiris. Sponsor everything we do. So make sure y'all shop with 901 Daiquiris. And we're gonna leave out on Malik's music, bro.
Go vote.
Yes, go vote. Please.
Please vote.
Right now.
That other day, my nigga told me, yo, you gotta give me something I can bump to in the car, you know what I mean? Something I can rock to, you know what I mean? Something with that bounce, you know what I mean? Well, a leg up. Last year, niggas claimed that I fell off. I guess you would call this a comeback. On my solo dolo shit like Mike Rose, with 2 cities on both shoulders, still never walk with hunchback. After all these haters told me get my weight up, so I jacked up on steroids to make it from minus to majors. Used to be a broke little nigga. That all I do is count my paper, so why should I apologize for the life that I done earned? Got my finger up to the critics like, fuck them, let the track burn. If the flow hostile or I'm hot now, what the fuck would I wait my turn? I call me a proud child, always acting wild, of life with no concern. So for all those who take shots, I might be saying prayers for your earn. Rest in peace to your career, when the fuck y'all gon' learn? Cause I eat beef like shark, we gon' beef for the whole year. And I won't stop till I'm on top like a shakedown like a sheriff. Excuse me, can you hold my mic for a second? Cause I feel like I'm a nigga. Cause I gotta do my dance. All I need is a new Bugatti and I'ma be legit, nigga. Excuse me, can you hold my mic for a second? Cause I feel like I'm the shit, nigga. Cause I gotta do my dance. All I need is a new Bugatti and I'ma be legit, nigga.
That's all y'all get. Y'all don't get nothing else. Y'all thought I was gonna play the whole song. You get one verse and one verse only. The rest, blackout season on the way. Y'all make sure y'all go cop that.
Holla at
drop. Yeah, man. Conversations at the Shop Saturday. We bring in the wrestling episode to Conversations at the Shop. We are going to talk eras of wrestling. We're going to piggyback off Loso and Ari from Get Your Bars Off podcast. And we're going to piggyback off my boy Frass and them OE Wrestling. So we just going to hit us with a wrestling episode. All my wrestling fans, make sure you tune in Saturday.
Oh, because trust me, we doing our research.
3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's like 11 o'clock Corey time. So like,
no, learn your damn time zones. It's like middle school.
Man,
3 o'clock. You said 3 o'clock Eastern,
So
which
that's
is 12 Pacific.
12 Pacific Standard Time, guys.
You gave him a whole other hour.
My bad, shit. I was just trying to get him up early. My bad, damn.
I don't blame you for that.
I don't get up early. Don't hit me up. You hit me up before 9. We got a problem.
Hey, I'm the same way. Yeah,
This niggas hit me up at 8:30 before. I don't want to hear that shit. I wake up in the morning, turn on my phone, and it's Gerard at 8:30 in the morning. Nigga working like 2 a.m. That pissed me off. What you talking about, Gerard? See, you just do this to me. You know what? End the episode. We got to talk. You just do this to me.
This is supposed to be done. I thought we were done.